Just walked into the snake room this morning, and guess what we saw? Love to do this. Stay tuned. So as you saw, we had some eggs today being laid. So I'm going to show you guys how I set up my hatch box. Now, I've done this before, but I like to do this because it reinforces pretty much what I'm doing on a regular basis, what seems to be working for me at least. So obviously we get the nice, everyone pretty much has the standard Tupperware containers, as we used to call them back in the day, the Sterilite containers. I take a sponge, basically, standard all-purpose sponge I get at Home Depot. I cut them in half. I cut the sponge in half with a paring knife, and I try not to cut my hand open while I'm doing it. Sometimes that doesn't work. And then I lay them down, two of them, side by side. They fit perfectly in the Sterilite box. And then what I do is I add water, as you can see. Now the water is obviously to keep the humidity in the egg box. Now what I do is I take these grates that they use for like fluorescent lights, and I cut them to size, and these are all cut to size because I've been using them for the last 3 years. I put them on top of the sponges, and then the eggs go right on top of here. So the humidity in the egg box will be great, but the eggs will never touch the water. And that's the key, because obviously you don't want to get your eggs wet or they mold, right? And we don't want them to get too dry, which I've done before. And that's why I don't use Hatchite or Perlite anymore, because for some reason, if the water gets evaporated, everything dries out and everything dies. And then of course, what we'll do is we're going to put the top on, but I like to use this saran wrap over the top, and then I put that. I'll show you that in a minute. So let's go check out the eggs, and I'll show you how I set those up and how I make sure that I have them in the right orientation. And obviously we don't want to turn them. I always mark them. Let's check it out. All right, so now we're going to open up this tub, and we see our mama here sitting on some nice eggs. We got to get her off. So the first thing I do is I take her off, and I'm going to put her in another tub, and then we'll deal with her afterwards, because I don't want to deal with her right now. Now, some of these females are pretty easy. My trick is I usually get the paper towel roll. I know a lot of people do that. And we kind of, see, she just struck at the paper towel roll, so she's obviously not happy that I'm taking her off her eggs. So, one egg turn. We're gonna check that one in a second. All right, so we got her. I'm gonna open up another tub. I'm just gonna shove her in there for now and just let her stay in there, and I'm gonna clean her up in a little bit. Now we got our eggs, okay? So, first thing I normally do is I take a picture of my eggs. Usually I take a picture with the mama on there, but that's all right. Get my eggs so I can see the orientation if I ever have to go back and look at anything. And now I'm gonna mark them, okay? These are all haven't moved. These are how she left them. I put a little magic marker dot. Now this one turned a little bit. These are just laid. They're really soft still. They haven't even hardened up yet. I can pretty much see all the veins. You can almost see them right through it. I don't know if you can catch that in the camera, but you really can. What a lot of times we'll do is we'll candle these things. And really, nowadays, no one uses candles. We use our cell phones, basically. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cell phone light on, and I'm just going to put my cell phone light right there. You know what? Let's shut the light off so I can show you how I do it for real. All right, so basically going to take my cell phone light, and you see all those nice, beautiful veins? That means we got a really nice embryo in there growing. You can see the little area where the embryo is right there. You can see it. So that means this is right side up. So we're going to put this right down here. I'm going to mark it. Boom. And we're good to go. Okay. All right, so now we have the eggs, and we got to get them in the egg box. We have our egg box. I basically marked, I made a little label. I do this for all the egg boxes. This is the dad always goes first, Mardi Gras, crossed with a high-intensity orange dream Enchi yellow belly female. I put when they're laid, and I put when they should hatch, which is approximately 60 days after they're laid. And then what we do is we gently put the eggs in here. Once again, now because we have them marked, we know what the orientation should be, so we don't have to worry about if they roll at all. We can always fix it because we know what the right side up is. All right. The key is marking them. I used to always forget to do that, and then they roll, and then you have to try to candle them and figure it out again. Now, this is pretty nice. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 egg clutch. This is going to be a really good one. love when we get 10 eggs. Very rarely does that happen, but this girl is a good girl. She put forth, these are the best eggs I've seen. You know, this is my 4th clutch of the season, and I think this is gonna come out really well. So now what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll put some saran wrap on this. Just cut this for a second, let me go get the saran wrap. All right, so now I got some just regular stretch plastic wrap. Take a nice little sheet of it. I'll lay it along the top here. You don't really have to worry too much about oxygen. There's plenty of oxygen in there, but we want to seal it so we keep the humidity. The key is humidity with these eggs. They need to stay moist. They can't get wet, the eggs, but they need to stay moist. So I put the saran wrap on, I put my top on, I click it shut, and then very rarely do I even open this ever again. I might vent it every couple weeks. I don't think it needs to be vented, to be honest with you. I've done it, I haven't done it. I just like to open it and sometimes inspect the eggs. If I see condensation or moisture accumulating where I might see drips of water coming out, I'll take this out. I might replace the saran wrap, or I might wipe down the inside of the container, the walls. Once again, as you see, the eggs are not near the wall, so that there's no water gonna drip down onto them. They're pretty much centrally located here. I don't know if I would put too many more eggs than 10 in here. This is probably the max in a container, but this is a nice one, and we're gonna put this in my incubator here. I have my sea serpents incubators. I have 2 of them actually. And I had to get another one last year because I had too many eggs. I don't know, I might even need another one this year, who knows. Put this right into the incubator with the other 4 clutches that we've had this year. I always have a thermometer inside and a humidity reader inside there. And this way I know, I incubate my eggs at 86 degrees. I know some people do 88. I like a little, I don't care if it takes a couple extra days to hatch. I find the hatch rate is better. I don't have as many problems. I also, if you look on the bottom of the incubator, I have an open tub with just water in it. What is that for? That's to create humidity inside the incubator, because sometimes the incubator will dry out. I found that last year I thought, oh, well, I got plenty of moisture inside my egg boxes, but the incubator was dry and it was sucking the moisture out of there. So now I put a little, you could even put a cup of water, just so that there's moisture inside the incubator, so it's not gonna suck the humidity, or I should say it's not gonna suck the humidity out of the egg box. And I think that's something that I learned this past year. A little trick, for some reason, always at the end of when you get down to those last couple clutches before they hatch, that's when everything dries out for some reason. So this is a good little trick if you wanna try it. I just opened up the thing and I thought the mama was I was gonna go clean her. I was gonna show you how I clean her, and look at this, another egg. So she's obviously still laying. Who thought? I thought she was wrapped around the eggs. I thought she was done. She's evidently not. I'm gonna close this up. I'm not gonna touch her. Who knows, maybe there's another one in there. So we're at 11 eggs now. Day of surprises here at Palumbo's Pythons and Boas. He doesn't get much better than that. Who sees a ball python that lays 11 eggs? And we could be getting a 12th. I don't know. This was a surprise. Usually when they're coiled around their eggs and sitting and relaxed, usually they're done. She's not, obviously, and I guess these were just laid, and that's something that you find out. But what I usually do is I'll take this tub, I'll completely put it in my slop sink, I'll clean the tub completely, because I want to get rid of every little remnant of egg smell, because ball pythons don't eat when they smell the eggs. I'll clean the water bowl, I'll clean the hide box, and what I do is I put then I wash the female off also, and I kind of put a little bit of soap on her, get her nice and cleaned up, and I put her in a separate tub, not her. Even though I clean her tub, I don't put her back in the same tub, just in case there is remnants of smell, and I find that this gets them back onto feeding much easier. So that's pretty much my process. It's not that hard. Now we wait 60 days, and hopefully we get some great little babies and you guys get to see that. And that's the process. And what I do is every day I check my eggs, my snakes 2 times a day or so to see who's laying, because this is laying season. Last night I found a clutch. I didn't even know that female was going to go. I didn't know she was that close. So you got to keep on top of that, especially when you have a lot of snakes, because if one sneaks by you, the eggs could dry out, and you don't want to lose a clutch because you weren't aware of what's going on. So always check your females that you know or have you been breeding, even if you think they're not ready to go, because sometimes they surprise you. All right, hopefully this helped out. If you guys are liking all this content, make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, hit the like bar, and we'll be back probably with a lot more breeding action this season. I'm Dave Palumbo with Muscle Serpents University.